I guess what we have to sort of clear up first of all is why you put together this unit this time, and what were the circumstances leading up to it, and what were the sort of philosophy. What is your philosophy behind the approach?
You mean the band?
Yeah.
The performing band?
Mm-hmm.
I had been wanting to do a record that was more Latin in flavor for a long time, because I've been listening to and enjoying that kind of music for so long. So while we were recording the music, we were recording live, and so it seemed it was a lot of fun, and it seemed natural to say, well, why not do some performances? Let's take it on the road. So the band is composed of a lot of musicians who played on the record, and some who didn't, but are familiar with the styles of music.
The basic answer to the question is you would want to do something with more of a Latin flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Talking Heads weren't ready to fill the bill.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Latin music really doesn't have a drum kit in it, for one thing, and the bass playing is often on an upright bass. So it's just, I mean, the styles are just completely different.
There's nothing more to your reason for doing it other than you just want to do Latin music. That seems like there should be more. I mean, you've got a band together, you put out an album, and you're taking them on the road.
Yeah, it's the reason is that it's fun,
yeah,
and
we can't let you off the hook this season.
Okay, it's fun. It's fun, and I haven't gone on the road for a long time because I didn't want to just go out and do the same thing we've done before, and I thought, well, now we're coming out with doing something very different. So
the band wasn't ready to tour though, or did the Talking Heads?
I think some of them would probably like to tour, but Jerry's just finishing a record of his own, and Chris and Tina are still. Tom Tom Club is still touring around the United States. So they're and anyway, I mean they wouldn't be suitable for playing this kind of music anyway.
But you were kind of left to your own devices, huh? And you just sort of went off and did something you just had always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
We interviewed Jerry about this time last year,
mm-hmm.
at which time he said he'd wanted to tour with the Heads, but he said David was too busy. I can't persuade him to go on the road. You do seem to be kind of juggling a lot of projects all the time.
Yeah, it's difficult to get our schedules together. And to be honest, for me, it's not very exciting just to do a Talking Heads tour if it's kind of just performing the same material that we've done before in the same style and all that. It's not very fulfilling.
Is that right? Do you think you've pretty much made the statement? It's what you've done, what you can do with the Talking Heads, and you really can't take it any further?
We've left it kind of open. We don't want to say that it's finished or anything, but we want to see, well, let's keep talking, let's see what happens.
Talking Heads のツアーやともね、自分にとって非常にI guess it's sort of a mixed bag. The members in the new band. You've got some of the salsa guys from New York, and also there are people from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because we've had to pull people from different places to be able to perform all the different styles that are on the record.
Oh, I see.
The Brazilians play on the Brazilian songs and some of the others, but they don't play so much on the salsa material.
Is that right? Stage. It's not as if the album was necessarily an attempt at bring Brazilian music north. I mean, that was just part of it.
Yeah, that's only one part of it. There's only 2 songs on that are really have a Brazilian flavor. The rest are really something more kind of salsa or merengue, or have more flavor from Cuba or Puerto Rico or Santo Domingo or some or New York. Yeah. So I'm still doing these compilations of Brazilian material. My record has it's not exclusively Brazilian.
He almost was like part of like you could come out with Beleza Tropical and also the documentary.
Yeah, it'd be a logical assumption.
Yeah, he thought it was like a trilogy.
No, it's kind of a. It picks up a little bit of that, but it's really a lot of other things as well.
I guess the best way is you call it like Latin style music, but I guess it's more like sort of Afro Latin music. I guess you could say, because do you ever step outside of non-black Latin countries? You know, there are many.
Yeah, well, a lot of I think the Latin music has influences from Spain and also from Africa. That's what makes it unique, that it has this kind of blend of different influences. And I think the drumming and percussion has African origins, but a lot of the melodies are in the structure of the music is often very Spanish.
I guess there's sort of a tenuous line between the interest you showed in Afro rhythms on Romanian Light and your interest in Latin sounds now. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, I think there's a thread tying together that and some of the other things I've done.
How would you explain that, though?
I would explain it that the kind of rhythms of Africa are at the roots of all this music. It's Latin or African pop or rock and roll or candomblé or whatever. I think it all has its roots in Africa. And then when it came to North or South America, it got blended with other things, either music from Spain or from Europe or whatever, and evolved into something else. But I think it has that. A lot of the things I've done have that in common.
I guess Romanian Light came out in about 80, was it? And it seems like there's been quite a gap between that and your current efforts now. In between, there really wasn't any notable statement or release on your part that sort of revealed your interest in this kind of music, or is that an incorrect observation?
No, it's incorrect. After Romanian Light, I did a ballet score where I worked with African percussionists. And then the last Talking Heads record, Naked, we worked with African musicians in Paris. So there's two other things that have been happening in the meantime.
Yeah, but it has this kind of bubbling under the surface there for you. I mean, you really had to get out your bag.
Yeah, it's been something I've been thinking about doing for a long time.
How about for this like Latin stuff? About how long has it been? When you first decided?
Probably about 3 years since I first thought of doing something like this. Because I was listening to the music a lot, and I just thought, I just enjoyed it so much. I thought I'd love to do something like this.
Can we assume that the new band is a permanent fixture, or is it something you're going to do for a couple of years?
Can't tell. I don't know.
You're going to leave your options open.
It's I can't possibly keep this band on salary. There's too many of them.
How many are there?
I'll probably keep working with them as projects come up.
How many are there altogether?
Well, right now touring there's 16.
Uh-huh.
It's very big.
Yeah. You know, observing you for all these years, he seems to think that you're a guy who kind of changes around a lot. You switch from one thing to another.
I think a lot of them have something in common. I think there's something. There's always something that ties it to some kind of central interest over the years. Although on the surface it looks like I'm jumping around a lot.
So that's why he asked the question about whether the current arrangement was temporary or semi-permanent. How long is the commitment? I mean,
the tour with the band is for now until Christmas.
That's the official commitment then.
Yeah, so far. Yeah, that's the official contractual commitment.
Legal obligation. You've done a lot of things so far, and they do sort of change around. They are vary quite a bit stylistically, but he knows that they definitely have the unmistakable David Byrne signature on them. Looking back, is that how you see this stuff in retrospect? Does it reflect what you wanted to be at the time, or is it a reflection of you?
Yeah, although I would like, I think a lot of people would like it as well, to be able to do something and be totally outside myself, do something that was totally different from me. I think it always has some of my personality in it, or something that I can't escape that. No matter how much I try, I can't escape it having some of that kind of feeling. So I have to live with it.
It sounds like it's a disease or something. Looking back in retrospect, though, has all this stuff pretty much retained the character unique to you, or
that's what I've heard. Although I'm not always aware of it. But that's what I've heard.
Do you ever go back and listen to something and think, it's almost not like me. I almost became like somebody else, something else.
Yeah, that's the way it appears to me. But other people recognize it as me. But to me, it sounds like a stranger.
Is that right? Well, what sounds like particularly that way? That's a good example.
Well, like our early Talking Heads records. What's other things, odds and ends that I've done. Sometimes I listen to them and go, who is that person?
He thinks of it this way. It's like you create a new style, a new situation. He says, throw yourself into it, and could this be a way of like confirming your identity, confirming who you are?
Maybe unconsciously, that's what happens.
Like you totally get sick of what you've been doing so far, so you create something that's totally new. You start from the ground up. And you've obviously built something colossal this time around. 16 people, for God's sake.
Yeah, I guess you find out what you're made of when you throw yourself in at the deep end in something else.
But this time, like I said, you've really gone in with both feet in it. How does it feel this time around? Do you feel like you're out of your element, or do you think
No, I'm having a really great time. And, I feel like I'm learning from the band, but I feel pretty comfortable as well.
You don't think like you stand out among these guys?
Well, yeah, I kind of do, but but I think it's that way. But we're also kind of creating something new, so it's okay. I'm taking it one way, and they're pulling it another way. We get something new out of it.
But they accept it, though.
Oh yeah, everybody's having a good time, I think. I haven't. I think the musicians are really excited because they haven't had to compromise their music. they feel like the integrity of their styles or whatever has been kept, but we're just adding something new to it.
He was noting there a second ago that maybe you find out something new about yourself when you stick yourself in a new environment. But by doing this type of stuff, for example, this time around especially, by bringing in such a diversity of styles, do you plan on like changing the pop scene as a whole? Is there that sort of intention there, like to bring something new to the fixed audience you have already?
Yeah, I think so. I think for some of my audience, it'll be a new kind of sound. For other people, it's old. For a lot of my audience, it'll be a new kind of music for them. And yeah, I hope that they'll get as much enjoyment out of it as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that hope.
Is it just to bring people enjoyment, or do you want to change things? Do you want to bring about more like awareness of what's happening in the country?
Yeah, but I think the first thing is enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no reason to change anything unless, or go to try something else unless it's more enjoyable than where you're at the moment. And so, yeah, I don't want to be someone who comes across as proselytizing or promoting something. It's really just the first thing is that it's a lot of fun and it's moving.
You're an appreciator.
No.
Yeah. He says, like, for example, Remain in Light really left a heavy imprint on the pop scene as a whole. Sort of almost opened the floodgates for all sorts of African stuff to come in. It turned on a lot of other musicians as well, who consequently turned their attention towards Africa. And, he says, maybe you're just looking for something that's enjoyable for people, but you kind of end up being at the right place at the right time, turning on people to the right thing.
Well, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. Do you think the same thing could happen with the Latin thing this time around? Do you think? Did you think that the time had come for Latin in the same way as you thought the time had come for Afro stuff back in the late 70s?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, for me, it was kind of a way of bringing it home. Saying I don't have to go travel across the ocean or whatever. That there's all this great music happening in New York, and the whole Latin scene. And I thought, wow, this is a way of appreciating something that's kind of right in your own backyard. So I don't know if people will pick up on it as much as they have the African sounds, but it's a lot easier to hear than the African music because the musicians live in. I think there's some Latin bands here in Tokyo, and it's easy to hear. It's more available.
Okay, we can give him the one question. Lengthy question. He noted that you were at the right place at the right time with the Afro Sounds back with Remain in Light. We sort of established you as a trendsetter of sorts. The only problem with being like a trendsetter is that people start suspecting that you're pretentious or you have fault. You have ulterior motives, like you're trying to sort of sell yourself by getting a hold of this other stuff and trying to sell it. For example, these guys don't have false intentions or anything, but like Sting, with his Tropical Forests, and Peter Gabriel with his African label, handles African music exclusively. They're doing good stuff, but some people seem to think that they're using that as a means to an end.
In what way? I'm not sure. You mean they're using it to get more attention to themselves, kind of.
So there are type of, I guess you can come off as too much of a smoothie, so like a used car salesman, rock and roll. So I mean, that's never crossed your mind, or nobody's ever like pointed the finger or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I've gotten in trouble. The compilation of Brazilian music that I came out with a little while ago, Beleza Tropical. There was a long article in the New York Times that was very critical. That said, "Oh, who does this person think he is?" Trying to setting himself up as representing the music of a whole culture. Look, he left out this one, he left out this one, he left out this one. He doesn't have the old music, he doesn't have the stuff from this year, all that kind of thing, which is all true, but there's no way to argue with that except over time, to show that over time, I mean, I keep doing these things, and I don't make money on them really, but it's a way of bringing something that I enjoy to other people. And sometimes you get criticized for it.
Okay, we got it. So you are going to. Hi. We interviewed Jerry about this time last year, at which time he said he'd wanted to tour with the Heads, but he said David was too busy. I can't persuade him to go on the road. You do seem to be kind of juggling a lot of projects all the time.
Yeah, it's difficult to get our schedules together. And to be honest, for me, it's not very exciting just to do a Talking Heads tour if it's kind of just performing the same.
I guess what we have to sort of clear up first of all is why you put together this unit this time, and what were the circumstances leading up to it, and what were the sort of philosophy, what is your philosophy behind the approach?
You mean the band?
Yeah.
The performing band?
Mm-hmm.
I had been wanting to do a record that was more Latin in flavor for a long time, because I've been listening to and enjoying that kind of music for so long. So while we were recording them,
Ready to fill the bill.
yeah, that's true. I mean, Latin music really doesn't have a drum kit in it, for one thing, and the bass playing is often on an upright bass. So it's just, I mean, the styles are just completely different.
どう？
ラテン風の音。
There's nothing more to your reason for doing it other than you just want to do Latin music. But it seems like there should be more. I mean, you've got a band together, you put out an album, and you're taking them on the road.
Yeah, it's yeah. The reason is that it's fun, and
we can't let you off the hook this easily.
Okay. It's fun. It's fun, and I haven't gone on the road for a long time because I didn't want to just go out and do the same thing we've done before, and I thought, well, now we're coming out with doing something very different. So
the band wasn't ready to tour though, or did Talking Heads?
I think some of them would probably like to tour, but Jerry's just finishing a record of his own, and Chris and Tina are still. Tom Tom Club is still touring around the United States. So they're and anyway, I mean they wouldn't be suitable for playing this kind of music anyway.
But you were kind of left to your own devices, huh? And you just sort of went off and did something you just had always wanted to do.
Music. We were recording live, and so it seemed it was a lot of fun, and it seemed natural to say, well, why not do some performances? Let's take it on the road. And so the band is composed of a lot of musicians who played on the record, and some who didn't, but are familiar with the styles of music.
The basic answer to the question is you would want to do something with more of a Latin flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Talking Heads